Hola, buenas tardes a todas y todos. Estamos comenzando la última jornada de talleres del Hub Musical. Recordarles que estamos realizando esta conferencia. Tenemos varios contenidos ya estrenados en nuestro canal de YouTube y de Twitch. Tanto los contenidos de conferencias, paneles, charlas, demostraciones de tecnología y música, como los talleres que se están realizando en el marco de este laboratorio, donde tenemos alrededor de 20 proyectos en competencia en nuestro programa de prototipado de contenidos, experiencias inmersivas, dispositivos, bajo este desafío de la neosinestesia. Hoy en la tarde y mañana también en la tarde vamos a estar realizando algunas mentorías uno a uno, personalizadas para los proyectos que están participando de este laboratorio. Y recordarles que el martes es el Demo Day, donde vamos a estar presentando los resultados, los trabajos que se han desarrollado en el marco de este laboratorio. Ahora vamos a tener como invitado a Tom Leamon de AV.Sync. A Tom, bueno, lo conocí en el marco del Next Stage Challenge, que fue una hackathon que se realizó hace un par de meses para que desde la industria musical se desarrollaran tecnologías, soluciones que ayudaran a los artistas a mantenerse activos durante el encierro, durante la pandemia. Ahí Tom fue uno de los proyectos que destacó. Me tocó ahí tener algunas mentorías con él para darles ideas también del desarrollo del modelo de negocio de esta aplicación. Y me pareció muy interesante lo que está haciendo, porque es una aplicación que permite que artistas que no manejan código o que no manejan herramientas complejas para el desarrollo de visuales puedan, a través de una herramienta online que se maneja a través del navegador, a través de Chrome, realizar visuales en vivo, configurarlas con distintas cámaras, etcétera. Entonces ahora vamos a tener el taller con Tom en inglés, así que disculpas que no tenemos servicio de traducción simultánea. Y bueno, le damos el pase ahora a Tom. Welcome, Tom, to Hub Musical.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and I apologize that I can only give this talk in English. I hope you understand. So just to tell a little bit about myself, my name is Tom Leamon. I am a software developer. I am a graphic artist, and I'm the founder of AV.Sync.live. And I am based right now in Chicago, Illinois, where I am trying to build this into a company with the mission of making live music visuals accessible to a much wider range of artists. Because currently the problems I see with this medium, which is to me the most exciting medium because it is unique every single time, it happens live right in front of your eyes. The problem I see is that the current software is very complicated, it's expensive, and it's not easy to learn. And so I wanted to create a product that kind of solved that problem for myself. And so I wanted to make it so that, you know, it would be something that the very first time you open it, that it's immediately clear how to use it. And I'll let you be the judge of how well I pulled that off today. I've been working on it for about 2 years now, and working on a big release coming up that kind of makes it more like YouTube, where you're not only able to create amazing content, but you're able to share it with people, share your presets, and that's something definitely to look forward to. But in the meantime, I'd love to give you an intro and little tutorial for how it works and how you can start creating live music visuals all in your browser in just a couple minutes. So I'll start sharing my screen, and I'll show you what you can do in AV.Sync.live. Okay, so are you able to see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'll just start by refreshing the page so you see what AV.Sync.live looks like the very first time you visit it. And you can still hear me, correct? It says
Yes.
that my preview was paused to save resources. You can still see, right? Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can see the website.
Great, yeah. So this is when you type in AV.Sync.live into your browser, this is what you'll see. And instead of having to spend $600 on the license, all you have to do is click a single button. You just click launch. And now this is AV.Sync, and you can see it automatically fills in all the cameras I have connected to my computer. So I can just click on one. It'll just do a nice little fade to the next camera, and I'll do it again. So there you go. I can just cycle between all my cameras, and I can choose the transition between each. So if you click on, let me just do that again. You click on this button right here. It'll show you all the different transitions you can choose between your presets. So if I choose this one, now when I click on this automatically generated preset right here, you can see it does this kind of RGB, colorful kind of morph in between the different cameras. And in AV.Sync.live, the duration of all the transitions is actually based on the tempo of the music. And so if I go ahead and divide by 2, now we're at 30 beats per minute. And so the transition will happen in twice the amount of time, so twice as slow. There you go. So in this tutorial, I'm going to incorporate some of the incredible artwork that I was sent for the Hub Musical Conference, as well as some of the music. And so I'll show you how to create presets such as this one. And you can see that it is pulsing in time with the music. You can see every time at the top this flashes red, that signifies a beat. And so you can see it. Oh, and actually an interesting fact is it's actually tracking my motion as well using my camera. And so you can see the RGB split right now. If I kind of sway side to side, you can see that the visuals are also going side to side. If I stay still, they stay still. So I'll get into that as well. So if I just go ahead and transition back to my camera. There we go. So let's just have this kind of be the starting point, and I'll show you how you can create your own presets very quickly. So you just go to New Preset, and then it brings up this kind of more complex interface. And basically, it's if you've ever used Photoshop or any kind of similar design program, it's all based on layers. So I can just create a second layer and a third layer, and they just all stack on top of each other. So just to kind of illustrate that, I'll click on one of these sources, one of the images that I uploaded. I'll make it visible, and I can hide it or show it like that. And kind of the way things work in AV.Sync.live is you just kind of follow the color red, and you'll understand everything important you need to know. So you can see I have this layer selected, this source active, and I can add effects on that layer. So if I go ahead and do something simple like scale, then I can scale it down. And let me see. See, now it is, let me see if I can point to this. It's on top of me, okay? So one of the most basic music reactive effects you can do is synchronizing to the beat, the tempo of the music. And in order to do so, you just click on what part of the music you want to sync to. I'll synchronize to the tempo. And so you can see now it is going in and out, scaling like that based on the current tempo. I can also scale it to the bass. Let me change the audio source so it'll pick up my voice. So now you can see that as I'm talking, it's scaling up and down, right? So that's just the most basic form of audio reactivity. If I wanted to kind of incorporate my camera as well in these visuals, first of all, let me apply an opacity effect. You can just scroll down, find the one you want, click opacity, and I'll synchronize the opacity to the tempo. So now you can see it is coming in and out on the beat like that, right? If I make the background, I'll add an effect on my camera. So I just click on that layer, click on effect, and scroll down to do quad mirror. Now maybe it's getting a little bit more interesting. I think now would be a good time to bring in some actual music to synchronize to. So I'm just going to, on my other screen over here, I'm going to play some of the music from the conference. Let me play that. And I'll just go ahead and change the source. And let me go ahead and synchronize the background layer to the music as well. Okay, and so what I just did there is basically you just can tap on this BPM clock at the top so that the fading in and out, the opacity, is now synchronized to the beat. And I'll turn up the music a little bit more so you can hear it a little bit better. Cool. All right, so now instead of this background layer with me of the camera, how about instead I'm going to go ahead and choose another one of these images. So let's try the hand. Okay, pretty good. I'm going to go ahead on this top layer. I'm going to do a bad TV effect. And so I can do kind of a rolling picture. If you have a broken TV, that's what it might look like. So now you can see that that's scrolling up. Let me go ahead and change the opacity real quick. And I'll just do one more effect. This is a mirror one. Cool. That looks pretty good. So when you, and the music is repeating in the background, it'll just keep looping. So once you've created a preset you like, you can just save your preset, give it a name, and then now it will appear on the list of all your different presets. So I can just go ahead and click on a different one of these that I created earlier. And it'll transition between those now. Very good. So one of the other cool features of AV.Sync is you don't just transition between presets, you can also automatically loop between them. So let's say that I have just a basic camera. I'll choose the transition, let's try ripple. And then all you have to do is press the loop button right here. And it'll wait till exactly on beat to apply it. Let's wait 1 second. And so now it'll basically go in and out in time with the music. Cool. So you're probably wondering though, what do I actually do with this? This is great. You're showing me these cool visuals, but what do you do with it? Well, if you're in at a venue doing like some sort of live performance and you want to get it on the projector screen, let me just pause this music. And I will just go back to one of these. Cool. So if you want to get it up on the venue screen, if you're doing a sort of live music performance, then you can go ahead and click on this button right here, and it will just open a little pop-up window of your visuals. If you double click on them, it'll make it full screen, right? So basically what you do is you just take this window, you drag it over to the projector, and then you hit full screen, and now you'll see that on the screen behind the stage. You can also just do a basic screenshot if you create something you think is cool, like that. That looks pretty cool to me. You can go ahead and name that. So let's call it Hub Musical. And then to save it, you just click Download. Choose where you want to save it. I'll just put it in Downloads. And it'll save it as a PNG. And there you go. You can also do a video recording, obviously very important. So for that one, I'll just put the music back on, actually, because I want to show you the audio is recorded as well. Cool. So when you want to record it, just click the record button up here. Let's try a different transition. Let's try vertical morph is one of my favorites. So I'll go ahead and transition to this other preset. And then the one we created. Zoom is another good one. So let's maybe loop to this other preset. Cool. And just to finish off, we'll just go back to this first preset again. There we go. So when you're happy with your recording, you just hit stop recording. I'll go ahead and pause the music. So there you go. Now you have a recording of it. And if I go ahead and press play, you can see all your work was recorded. So then I'm going to go ahead and name that Hub Musical Video. Hit download. Save it. And that downloaded just fine. I'll open it real quick. Cool. One thing you'll notice is it's actually a, let me see if I can find that again, sorry. Downloads. Yeah, you'll notice it's actually a WebM file, and that may not be something you're familiar with. That's just a limitation of how the web browsers work. The only way to record a video is in a WebM format. And so in order to get that into something usable, you can open it with like VLC is a video player that can open these files. But in order to post it on Instagram, for example, just try the site Cloud Convert. It's my favorite one. So WebM to MP4. You just select your file. We'll go find that in Downloads, right there. And all you have to do is really hit Convert. It'll just upload the file, convert it, download it, and now you have an MP4 that you can post to whatever you need to do it in. So that was just a quick overview of the kind of thing you can do in AV.Sync.live. I'll also show you a few additional options. If you want to make your visuals, I'll go back to this one. If you want to make your visuals full screen without doing the pop-up window, remember the pop-up window, you just click that. If you want to just show this in full screen, you just click this button. And you can view it like that. And you can also just put the whole program in full screen with that button. You can choose some of the options. This is actually great if you're trying to create content for Instagram. If I choose, like, for example, a square aspect ratio, you can see it'll put everything into that a square. And so that when you record it, you don't need to do any sort of special cropping or anything, right? Great. So I'll just put that back in 16:9. And I'll go ahead and show you a little advanced tip right here that really allows you to create some of the most impressive visuals. This is my favorite thing to do. So as you can see, the background layer here is actually feedback. And by feedback, what I really mean is there's a source that you get where all the visuals that you have actually show up as a source. And so it's this sort of feedback looping on itself kind of thing. A little hard to explain. So I'll do my best and walk you through that. So I'll go ahead and clear that. If I were to suddenly pick feedback right now, select a different source for this layer, it's going to look like everything froze. And that's because basically it took the visuals and now it made it a source. And so if I go ahead and, for example, adjust the scale now, if I bring down the scale a little bit, it'll start feeding back in on itself and kind of creating these interesting kind of feedback looping effects, right? So let's try maybe a more practical application of that. So I have my camera right here, create a new layer. I'll put that in the background. I just drag that, by the way. You click and hold to drag your layers. I'll make the background feedback. You can see I have a little Chroma Key background back there. There's actually a Chroma Key effect in AV.Sync, and so on this top layer, I'm going to say I want all the white parts of the image to essentially disappear, and in the background now you have feedback. So you see as my hands move around, you're getting these kind of interesting trails. And I'm not sure if you can tell, but this is when things start getting interesting. So for example, if I go in the background and increase the scale a little bit, you can see things start, there's some motion involved now, which is kind of cool. Let me try to make the Chroma Key black. Okay, that's a little better. You can see as I go side to side, there's like trails of images following me. Grab a drink of water. So the cool part about feedback looping, which is what I'm doing right now, is it's kind of generational. So every generation, because I have this scale effect applied, every successive trail gets a little bit bigger than the last, and that's how you get this type of effect. But it also works for color type effects. If I choose Hue and Saturation, and I turn up the hue, now you'll see I start getting a rainbow effect coming off of me, right? And I can go ahead and choose the scale to synchronize to the tempo, and now you get this kind of effect, which is pretty cool. One other thing I wanted to show you was if you select a layer and you want to add an effect, you don't need to scroll through this every time to find the one you need. It's great to be able to visually see the ones you think are cool, but if I just start typing, it'll actually start filtering it down, and as soon as you have a match, it will add it. So for example, if I wanted to really quickly add the quad mirror effect, all I have to do is press Q on my keyboard. And just like that, it added it. So that's a great feature for live performance, so you can make changes really quickly. Some effects like quad mirror have different options, so I can choose in what way exactly I want to mirror it. Personally, I think that is kind of the coolest. Let me go ahead and add a little scale effect right here, and I'll get the music going again. Cool. Awesome. And so, like I said, when you are happy with your creation, all you do is save it. And now it just adds it in here, and you can transition to any other preset like that. Cool. Great, so that pretty much wraps it up for all the basic features of AV.Sync. I even touched on a little bit more of an advanced technique there, which was doing the feedback looping, which I love that effect. I think it's cool. Oh, actually, no, there is one more thing that I definitely need to show you. It's one of the most exciting things about the software, is that it actually has built-in motion tracking. So if I'm going to turn off the quad mirror effect right here, I'm just going to have the scale be a little more consistent. And what I'm basically going to do is add a position effect. So you obviously saw there is BPM, so you can synchronize effects to the tempo. You can obviously just do it manually by dragging it around. Bass, mid, and treble. It can just keep increasing for infinity. It can just flash between two different positions like that. And all of that happens right on beat. But what I wanted to show you was the motion tracking. So it actually, you see there's this little icon here. It has a little picture of a person running. That's how you choose which video source you want to do the motion tracking. And then if you just click these buttons, then now the background will be following me around. So you see as I sway side to side, the trails follow me as well. So that's a real fun one. I've had some really great results for using this for live performance because the performers on stage are, moving around with their guitars. It's a very cool type of effect. So that's definitely something to play around with yourself. But it also has another kind of cool application where I just clear all this out. I'm going to go do a hue and saturation effect, and I'll switch the saturation to vertical movement. So if I move my hand up and down, you can see, let me make that full screen so it's a little more interesting. I move my hand up and the saturation goes really high. I move it down and it goes to black and white. So you can use this almost for, think of it as a conductor with an orchestra, and you've got your pencil. What camera am I using here? There we go. So let's try maybe a little more practical application of that. So if I was doing this awesome graphic, I'm also going to add a scale effect, and let's do that for horizontal. So I have horizontal and vertical synchronization for these two effects. And so as I move my hand up and down and left and right, I'm changing these effects just by moving my hand. So that's another fun way of controlling it. So yeah, my kind of whole philosophy behind what I'm doing here is, be creative and don't worry too much about having to manually control every little dial during a live performance. I want you to let the music, the live music, do the hard work. That's why you basically just pick an effect like that. You select the what you want to synchronize to for the live music. You can do BPM again for this. And you just choose the range. So rather than, manually trying to control things or turn a bunch of dials on a MIDI controller, that can get a little cumbersome during a live performance. It's very impressive to watch, but that can't really compete with having an unlimited number of effects synchronized to any part of the music you want. It just eliminates the barriers between what your audience is seeing and what they're hearing. That kind of gets into the synesthesia concept that the Hub Musical is really built around, is breaking down the barriers between these two senses and creating sort of a new medium. And so what I've done here is done my best to create this software to make that type of experience accessible to all of you, so that all you need is a laptop and an internet connection, and you can do this for free. I'm working on a future version which will have additional paid features, but that is still very much in the works, and I would very much appreciate everyone's feedback in determining what aspects of this need to improve, what features are missing. And in order to do that, I set up a Discord of my own. If you visit AV.Sync.live, you can just click the link and go to the Discord. and participate in the discussion and help shape the future of AV.Sync.live. Another way to provide feedback is just clicking this feedback button. You rate your experience. You can choose a part of the interface to comment on. And you say, oh, that really needs to change, ... Send that to me, and I will get a screenshot, and I'll basically understand your feedback and do my best to implement that feature, because I really made this software to help solve your problem. And so the better I understand your problem, the better off I'll be. So, there is one last feature that is also very exciting. Let me get out my phone for this one. And it may be kind of embarrassing if this does not work, because it's still very much a work in process, but I'll do my best. So you may be thinking, well, I don't have all these cameras. I don't have a bunch of wired webcams to plug in or anything like that. Well, you can actually connect your smartphone and use that as a camera. So what I'm going to do is just take a photo, open up my camera app, scan this QR code, see if this works. Okay, so I just opened up the link on my smartphone. Any second, it should come through as one of the sources. There we go. Oh, I'm so happy it worked. Or at least I thought it did. It's not coming through right now. That's unfortunate. But it did show up at least, so that's a start. I'll have to experiment with that. But basically, what I'm working with there is you scan the QR code, and you can have as many smartphones as you want as wireless camera sources, so that you don't have to rely on the ones built into your computer. You can also use something like, let me see if I can point my camera at this. Oh, here we go. Here, I'll use a different camera. Bear with me here. So you can hook up a professional camera like that one if you have something called a capture card. And it basically is HDMI coming out of your camera and USB on the other side. And that allows you to use any professional camera as a source for AV.Sync as well. So that's something that is great to have in a professional environment if you want to use this in that way. So I think that about covers all the features. I'd be very happy to answer any questions that anyone has about their thoughts about what I've built here, and if I can just answer any questions, I'd love to hear them. So any questions?
Thank you very much, Tom. And first of all, congratulations. I think it's an outstanding software and application for new artists. And I'm impressed it's not so mainstream yet. I think this can be huge, and it has a lot of different uses, as you showed. I think, well, you can also use like some apps to connect your phone camera to the computer, like EpoCam and others.
So actually, it actually does not require any sort of download to connect your smartphone. Literally, all you have to do is press this button. It looks like Wi-Fi right here. It'll show a QR code. If you scan that QR code with your phone, it'll open up a link on your phone in your web browser, and it actually will be connected without having to download anything. So within 15 seconds, you have your smartphone as a source for the camera. And I'm not exactly sure what went wrong in this case. I think I may be on a different, you have to be on the same Wi-Fi network. That's the only requirement. Other than that, the download installation, you never have to do any of that when you're using AV.Sync.live. That kind of goes against the philosophy of making it quick and accessible. So, and as to why it hasn't gone mainstream yet, like I said at the beginning of this live stream, this is actually my first opportunity to do a demonstration or a tutorial of it. So I'm a programmer, and I have this bad habit of being so product focused that I want to make it perfect before getting it out there, right? Well, I'm finally trying to break through that, and I'm getting it out there, and I'm very excited to get more people trying it. It doesn't need to be perfect. That's what I've learned. And so now I'm just looking to get everyone's feedback about how to improve it and have it fit their needs.
Great. I'm going to give just a short context to the ones that arrived late. Chicos, estamos en el taller de Tom de AV.Sync Live. La aplicación que están viendo en pantalla, que está compartiendo Tom en pantalla, la pueden utilizar directamente accediendo a avsync.live por si quieren chequearla y luego repetirse también el taller para ver en detalle las features que tiene esta aplicación. I think we have one question here.
Okay, I don't see the question. Is it in the text somewhere?
Yeah, Accordion is asking, your software has so many advantages, but what do you think is the weak point that you have to improve?
Yeah, so there definitely are some disadvantages compared to existing alternatives. So the main difference between AV.Sync and all other live music visual software is that you don't have to download or install anything. It runs all in your browser. That's a huge advantage, right? But it also is, it does have some drawbacks and some disadvantages. One of which I mentioned at the beginning of the, sorry, which camera am I looking at here? Hang on. This one.
Yes.
Yeah, so one of which I mentioned at the beginning, when you do a, sorry about that. When you do a video recording, like I'm doing right now up here, this recording is saved as a type of file called a WebM instead of MP4. And you can upload that directly to YouTube, but it is not very compatible with like Premiere or video editing software, or you can't upload it to Instagram. And so you have to convert it first using a converter. One I recommend, like I said, is Cloud Convert. So you can see I did this at the beginning of the tutorial. I uploaded it. It finished processing, and so now it's an MP4, and you can just download that and do whatever you normally do with your videos. So that's an extra step, but I'm working on having that automatically integrated into the software so that your recordings will automatically be converted instead of having to do it manually. The one other disadvantage I would say is that there's a slight performance overhead of trying to do all this crazy stuff in your web browser. I would say it probably runs maybe 30% slower than if you were to have it be a program that you download and install. There's no real way around that, but I'm always working to optimize to get it running as well as it can. So I would just say that I would recommend running the software that your laptop has a dedicated graphics card. So a good rule of thumb is if it can play a video game, it can definitely run AV.Sync.live. So those are really the only two disadvantages I see. I would say maybe one more would be that it's not every little aspect is not fully customizable. So for example, you can't choose the duration of the transition. You can't say 0.5 seconds, 8 seconds. Everything is tied to the tempo of the music. And so you can look at that as a disadvantage, or you can look at it the way I do, which is it's always synchronized to the music. It's like you can't have it get out of sync because all your transitions will always happen in time with the music. So I hope that answers your question. And if anyone else has any others, I'd be happy to answer theirs as well. Thanks.
Sure. Okay. Do we have any other question for Tom? I want to ask where the business model is going. What's the pricing model that you're thinking? When is
Right,
it
right.
gonna stop being free?
Well, it's never going to stop being free. There will always be a free version that is 100% capable of using in a live performance setting. Um, that is something that I see as a core value of what I'm doing here. But there will be more premium options with additional features. So I mentioned towards the beginning of the video that I'm actually working on a big release coming soon, where you can publicly share your presets, and so you don't have to create them all yourself. You can customize existing ones. Another feature that we'll be launching with that is the ability so I can drag these around and put them in any order I want, right? So what's going to happen is once you have the order of all your presets, you say, I'll do this one first, and then that one, and then this one, and then that one, and that will be my set, so that it will automatically play, and I can step away, and I don't have to manually control it. So again, that's another feature of kind of letting the music do the work. So everyone, to answer your question, I promise I'm getting there. Everyone will get one like deck, if you want to call it that. They will get one playlist of a sequence of presets. And that's enough to get everything you need to do done and produce incredible visuals. But if you're kind of a power user and you're creating, you want to have a very customized sequence, and you want to have a whole different sequence for every different song, or you're working with multiple bands and you want each of them to have a custom one, then there'll be a premium subscription option that lets you have as many decks or playlists as you want. So you'll be able to have different playlists, essentially. Does that make sense?
Yes, perfect. We have another question.
I'm thinking that'll be like a $15 a month option, and it's kind of, like I said, for more hardcore users. I know I'll definitely be using that because it makes things a little bit easier. One other premium option, this is down the line, and it's kind of just me thinking out loud, but I really would like to have you download, I know this is against everything I've said before, but you download a little desktop helper program that allows you to do additional things like DMX lighting, like the lighting that is at venues, being able to have a signal sent from AV.Sync to control those. That's an additional kind of project that I'm putting some thought into. So, thanks.
Yeah, I think you have so many options regarding where to grow to that it's hard to prioritize.
Yeah, well, I'll leave that prioritization up to the feedback I get from the community. So I encourage all of you to check it out and stop by my Discord and let me know what your favorite features are, what you need to see improved, etc.
Yeah, of course. Feel free to share your Discord link here. We have another question. Can you sync it with OBS?
Great question. Let me, I'll just show you how to do that real quick. I should have definitely touched on that. My apologies. If I open up OBS. Cool. So yeah, the way you can live stream using OBS is just go ahead and click that output window. Remember I talked about that at the beginning? I'm just going to go ahead and drag this to my other screen. So then when you're in OBS, let me just get rid of that. In OBS, you just go ahead and add a new source, go to display capture. No, sorry, not display, window capture. And choose the one that says AV.Sync.live. By the way, I apologize if this is small because I have a big monitor, but it says AV.Sync.live output window. Click on that. Okay. And that's all it takes. Now you are live streaming your visuals. So yeah, relatively easy to do that. It's possible I could. One thing I would like to implement is, a single button you click to go live on Facebook. That's something that is also in the works. And I'm not promising anything, but I'll definitely do my best to implement that, because that would be a very cool feature to have live streaming visuals in one click without having to leave your browser. That would be amazing. That would amaze even me. So watch out for that one in the future. But yes, to answer the question, it's very simple to use OBS to live stream. You just need a simple window capture.
Okay, great. I think we have some record labels in our community. I know they are very interested in sharing this with their artists, and they will probably use it for like Instagram live streaming.
Yeah.
What kind of experiences you've had on live streaming your visuals?
Right. So you mentioned Instagram. Instagram is a little tougher because they don't allow you to, like, as far as I understand, you can't use OBS to live stream to Instagram. That's just not possible. And correct me if I'm wrong, if anyone knows, but I don't think there's a way to do that. It is very easy, though, to use programs. There's various services. I think one is called Restream, where using the whole window capture thing that I just showed you and Restream, you can broadcast AV.Sync.live to multiple platforms at the same time, such as YouTube and Facebook and Twitch, all simultaneously. So it's not that difficult.
Yeah, we're using StreamYard right now.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So it integrates pretty well with services like that, because you're just using OBS. And so anything you can do with OBS, you can do with AV.Sync.live.
Yeah, but I think you can use OBS for Instagram. I've tried it. I don't know if you can use it yet, still, but...
Well, I hope you can, because I haven't had any luck with that, but that sounds great to me. I'd love to do that. And you mentioned musicians using this, and maybe I just want to talk a little bit about other applications of this besides just as a visual artist, live performance visual artist at a live show. There's actually a lot more functionality you could do with it. So, for example, AV.Sync is a great way to make much more engaging Instagram posts and kind of animate the graphics you have to your music so that you can go ahead and share that. I actually worked with a artist collective, and they got more than 3 times as many likes on their Instagram post that was made using AV.Sync.live compared to the type they normally did, just because it was synchronized to the music, much more engaging. So I'll just show you how to do that real quick. It should just take a second. So basically, let me show you this. So let's say that this is the background image, right? This is kind of the poster that they would normally put on Instagram. Let me just make this a little bit bigger. This is the type of thing they would normally put on Instagram. What I did was I actually created here we go. This is like a little overlay. So you can see just like that, I embedded the artists that were going to be at this live event, and I put it in this little box, right? So what I can do is, I'm just going to go ahead and take you through this real quick. What I did was I made the background layer feedback. How about that? I will scale that up real quick. Cool. I feathered the edges of this one, of the top layer. And then if you upload a video, then you can actually set that as the source. So I'm just going to go ahead and click that.
Answering some off the chart. If a nigga say plug, he's fully blown banana. Yeah, it's because of what my frequency do. Give me my flowers while the plant grow. I'm still alive, so the fertilize the mental. The cold as the mental. It's the same as your bag of doses tempo. Open window, it's the spirit running around.
There we go.
If you make a sound, are you telling what you've been through?
There we go. So just like that, I made an animated version of their poster. And they were able to post that on Instagram and get more than 3 times the normal amount of likes they would normally get. And so it's not just for a live performance thing. It can be a great way to easily synchronize your own graphics or your own promotion for your events to your own music and post that on social media. Because that's not easy if you're using software like Premiere Pro. It takes a very long time. You can see I came up with this in just a couple of minutes. So that's another potential application.
That's very impressive. We're going to encourage our community to try AV.Sync, and please tag you on social media if you are doing anything with it. I was wondering, what are your thoughts or your projections regarding AI? Because you already have the tool, but if you add AI to this, you can have like automatic visuals and videos and content for social media and so on.
I'm glad you asked, and I have very big ambitions for incorporating AI into this product. The biggest limitation, before I get into all the things I'm excited about, the limitation is that in your web browser, it's the machine learning libraries just aren't performant enough. They run too slowly now. That's all going to change in the future, and I promise you that I'll be the first one to implement it as soon as it's possible. But some of the things that I'm really interested in incorporating are, I actually have a special folder on my computer to show this. Let's see, feature. So I'm sure you all have seen, sorry if this is small, I'm sure you all have seen stuff like this where Zoom uses this, for example, where it can separate performers from the background. That's a great one. I like the idea of incorporating that. There's another cool one that is called instant segmentation. So it knows what part of the image, not only what part of the image that certain objects are in, but it knows what types are in it. So what I'm imagining is a guy playing his guitar, right? And the software is automatically separating his guitar from the rest of the image and only applying effects on that instrument. I think that would be very, very cool to try. The last kind of thing would be, actually I have a couple more. If you've ever heard of style transfer, it's basically you have a source image, and through AI, it can create output that is in that style. So look, that's the input, and then it can take video, and it can do it as if it were painted in that style. And I see so much exciting potential to do stuff like this using live video at a kind of concert setting. And then combining this with the last technology I showed you, where it can only, you can choose to only apply this effect on the instrument or on the performer or on the background. I think that would be very, very exciting to try. Another cool one is automatic transcription. So imagine the software listens to your performance live and it transcribes it live into MIDI files. Those MIDI files are then analyzed by the algorithm, and it can break up your song into different sections. Like this is the chorus, This is the solo. This is the, whatever part of the song you want, and it will apply certain effects during those times all automatically. So I really like the idea of, when I say let your music do the work, AI is going to be so key into making that more powerful, where you really can create your set and just walk away as a musician and go do your set, and the software will take care of the rest. Your music will be controlling everything on the screen without the need for someone to sit there manually and try to control it. Because no human is ever going to be able to compete with a mathematical level of synchronization between audio and visual, right? I want to create a whole new sensory experience here where audio and visual are so closely tied together that they really become something else entirely, and AI is going to be very key in making that happen. So something to look out for in future versions of AV.Sync.
Very cool. Those are great examples. I'm really excited to see where you can go with this. I don't know where you will be like in 1 or 2 years. I think it really has no limits. And I think that the biggest challenge for you is to prioritize these decisions because you really have so many options for this to grow.
You're right, I do. And right now I'm just prioritizing getting more users to get feedback because, I don't want to build this in a little black box. I want to have the community's input really be what guides this into becoming what it was meant to be.
Great. So thank you very much, Tom. We're gonna close this workshop and this workshop. I'm sure that we're gonna be encouraging our community to use this tool, not only our community but our companies and our artists. So we're gonna keep in touch. Gracias a Tom. Estaba agradeciendo a Tom y también a nuestra comunidad. Gracias a todos los que han estado conectados a este taller. Recordarles que ocupen AV.Sync Live para probar esas visuales hermosas que está mostrando Tom ahora. Pueden hacerlas ustedes mismos, de acceso, una herramienta de acceso liberado. Así que, por favor, si empiezan a experimentar con esta herramienta, también recuerden etiquetar a Tom y a AV.Sync en redes sociales. Y nada, agradecemos a Tom y cerramos esta jornada. Thank you very much, Tom.
Gracias.